Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze, it's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. We have our whole cast here, which is fantastic for our Thanksgiving episode. So this is the closest thing we can find to a Thanksgiving episode. I hope you're all going to enjoy it. After the show, we'll be back on to talk about it.
From Hollywood, the Jack Benny Program.
Rochester.
What do you want?
Oh, nothing. I just thought I'd call you until I just finished 18 holes of golf.
You did, did you?
Did you wash the living room windows?
Yes, I washed them.
Did you put out the garbage?
It's out.
What time will dinner be ready?
7 o'clock, and this is the last time I'll play gin rummy with you. Now, Rochester, I want to ask you something. Why is it every time we play cards, you insist on wearing that Chinese kimono?
For 3 reasons. It's becoming, it's comfortable, and with those big sleeves, I can't lose.
Oh, so that's it. Mm-hmm. That's how you beat me. With those big sleeves.
Don't get mad, boys. I was just playing a little joke on you.
Well, Rochester, I'm going to tell you one. The next time we play cards, believe me, I got to hang up. There's someone at the door. Guy.
Oh, excuse me, madam. I thought that...
Don, it's me.
Jack, why are you doing the housework?
Look, Don, I don't want to discuss it. Now, if you want to sit down here and be quiet, sit down.
But, Jack, a big star like you, down on your hands and knees doing your housework, but this
It's none of your business.
But, Jack...
Now, and get off of my nice, clean floor.
I sure don't know what this is all about, but it's obvious you've been working too hard.
Yeah?
Look, Jack, come over here and sit down. Take it easy. Relax. Come on now. How about a game of gin rummy?
Gin rummy?
Yeah. Come on, Jack. Where are the cards?
All right, Don. I'll play you some gin rummy. The cards are right there in the second drawer. Right over there. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Just deal them out. Will you? Go ahead, Don.
Jack, what's the idea of the Chinese kimono?
Don, it relaxes me. It's comfortable, you know, when I play cards. Well, there we are. Go ahead, Don.
Oh, boy, what a hand I've got.
You're gonna need it, brother.
Rochester, everybody's waiting on you. We're going around again.
Oh, I changed my mind, Roy. I'm going back home. I hate to stick Mr. Benny with all that housework.
But you played him a game of gin rummy to get the afternoon off. You won it fair and square.
Well, it wasn't exactly fair and square. I wore a Chinese kimono.
A Chinese kimono? What are you laughing at?
At one time, I had cards so far up my sleeve, I had to go after them with a pair of chopsticks.
Oh, Don. Don. Don, you're supposed to answer the phone, too.
Oh, all right. Mr. Benny's residence. Don, the downstairs maid speaking. Oh, hold on. Rochester, he wants to talk to you.
Thank you, Donna. Hello? No. No, Rochester, I won't need you now. I got everything under control. Yeah. Goodbye.
What am I supposed to do when I finish the dishes?
Well, you wax the floors and you wash the windows and clean out the garage.
Is that all?
No, Don. At 7 o'clock, you have to prepare dinner for Rochester. He ordered ham hocks under glass. Now, I got to go to the supermarket and do some shopping. Don, so here, hang up my robe, will you?
Oh, all right.
There you are. Get that? There you are.
Jack, you cheated.
Don, don't be a sore loser. Now, hang up my robe.
All right.
There's somebody at the door. Come on in.
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Now, look, Dennis, I'm very busy. I got a lot of things to do today. You see, so if you got something to say it.
Well,
if not, let me go.
That's a fine way to talk to someone who had double pneumonia this morning.
Double pneumonia?
But I'm all right now.
Dennis, that's a silly... If you had double pneumonia this morning, how could you come to see me now? Did you take penicillin?
No, I took the Sunset bus.
Now, stop that! Silly Sunset bus. All you had was you probably caught a slight cold, that's all. How'd you catch it?
You see, I wanted to play a trick on my father, so I put a pail of ice water over the door so that when he opened the door, the ice water would fall on his head.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the ice water would fall on your father.
Yeah.
Well, then, how did you catch cold?
Testing.
What?
It worked every time.
Dennis, look, I haven't got time for this silly talk. I got to go to the supermarket and do some shopping.
Oh, but Mr. Benny, look, I want you to hear the song that I'm going to do on your show next
I
week.
haven't got time to hear it, Dennis. I got to go and change my shirt. We'll
Oh,
go to
but
the
I
market.
want you to hear it.
Well, then sing it in the kitchen. I'll hear it in the other room.
Boy, what a grouch. Hey, I'll fix him. Let there be you. Let there be me. Let there be oysters under the sea. Let there be wind and occasional rain. Chili con carne and sparkling champagne. Let there be birds to sing in the trees. Someone to bless me whenever I sneeze. Let there be cuckoos, a lark and a dove, but most of all things, let there be love. Let there be birds to sing in the trees. Someone to bless me whenever I sneeze. Let there be cuckoos,
I was wonderful.
Would you like me to sing an encore?
What?
I said, would you like me to sing an encore?
What's that?
I said, do you want me to...
I'll see you later, kid. Let's see, what do I have to get here?
Do you mind?
Now, let's see what I have to get here. Let's see, what's first? Mother's homemade noodle soup. Dad's old-fashioned mustard. Grandma's pickles. Gee, the whole family's working. See, I must be going to pick up a chicken, and I need peas, corn. I think I'll get the corn first. There. Oh, Mister.
Yes?
Pardon me, but where's the corn department?
I'm looking at it.
What?
I saw that act you put on with those baskets.
I wasn't putting on any act. I just couldn't pry them apart, that's all. And the store ought to do something about it.
Well, we might put our health food department in the parking lot and build you up on the way in.
Well, all I want to find out is where I can get a can of corn, that's all.
Well, the canned goods are right here on this counter.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Phew.
Let's see. Oh, what else? Howdy do. You like some fruit? Yes. How much are the oranges?
40 cents a dozen.
40 cents a dozen? How much are the apples?
Oh, we got a special today. The apple's 5 pounds, 25 cents.
All right, I'll have 5 pounds of apples, 25
All right.
cents.
5 pounds apples, come right up.
Okay.
There you are, 5 pounds, 27 cents.
27 cents.
Oh, sure.
You just said 5 pounds for a quarter.
Oh, sure, that's right. But you see, this way a little more, it's 27 cents.
But I don't want any more. I just want 5 pounds for a quarter. So I don't want any ounces more. 5 pounds for a quarter.
All right. Don't get mad. I give. £5, 25 cents. Good luck to me.
You have to make pie out of that, huh? Now, let's see. God, I didn't notice any butter here. Yeah, I wonder if we have any butter at home. I better call home and find out. Oh, there's the phone over there.
Benny's residence. Denise, the downstairs maid speaking.
Dennis, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm washing the windows, dusting the furniture, shaking out the rugs, and I still have to do the laundry.
Wait a minute. Did you play cards with Don Wilson?
Yeah,
What did he look like?
like Fu Manchu.
Well, Dennis, he cheated you.
Yeah, I know he did. I found that out. And boy, did I get even with him. You see, after the game, he got hungry.
Well, wait a minute. I don't want to hear what you did. Look will you go to the refrigerator, find out if I need any butter, will you please?
Yeah, hold the line. Is there any butter in there?
Dennis, let me out of here.
Benny, I don't know about butter, but you got 300 pounds of lard in there.
Oh, what a crazy kid. It's a wonderful store. Gosh, even the telephones give stamps. Let's see, what else do I have to get now? I don't know. I guess I might as well look around. How do you do? I might as well look around there. Oh, mister.
Yes, can I be of assistance? Oh, it's you again.
Look can you tell me where I can get... Hey, wait a minute. Why did you make such a drastic cut in the alphabet soup?
Because we just discovered that the alphabet in these cans is in Latin.
In Latin? How could they make a mistake like that?
It was no mistake. When this soup was made, that was the language.
Imagine making up a silly joke like that. I never heard anything like it. Here. Hey, wait a minute. Look at the directions. Friends, Romans, countrymen. Keep it in a cool chariot. Gee. Old soup like that can make you sick. Well, 3 cents a can, I can chance it.
Would you like to sample? And how about you? So it is.
Can I go over and get his autograph?
You go ahead. I'll wait here.
Mr. Benny? Mr. Benny?
Yeah?
Could I please have your autograph on my comic book?
Oh, certainly, Sonny. Let's see, of course. What's your name, first name?
Tommy.
Tommy. All right. To Tommy from Jack Benny. Yeah?
You know, Mr. Benny, I play the violin, too.
Oh, really?
I've been playing for 2 years.
Oh. Well, how well do you play?
Pretty good.
That's wonderful. You play like me?
I used to. Here's your autograph. Thinks he's smart because he's got freckles. Let's see what else do I want here. Gosh, I gotta get some frozen foods here. And there's that same fella. I hate to ask him. He always got a smile. Hey, mister.
Yes,
Yeah, it's me. Now, where do I get the frozen foods?
Go to the shelf between G and I.
What?
Go to the shelf between G and I.
That's a silly... Why did you just tell me to go to A?
Remember, you said it. I didn't.
dented can is half price. I can't figure out at all.
Yes, sir, may I help you?
Yes, I'd like to look chickens, please. The chicken, I think.
Yes, sir, I'm sure you'll find these chickens are very nice, and they're only 59 cents a pound.
59 cents a pound?
That's
for a
right.
chicken. That's a lot, isn't it?
Well, these chickens are very nice, and I can guarantee they're fresh.
Oh. Oh, did you just kill them?
I only killed 3. The smog got the rest.
Oh, yeah. Gee, I can still see the tears in their eyes. Gosh, I don't know. I'll tell you what, give me a pound of frankfurters.
Yes, sir. 1 pound of frankfurters coming up. Here we are. Now, these are very nice. 1 pound, 2 ounces.
Look, wait a minute. Hold it. I don't want a pound and 2 ounces. I just want 1 Why can't I get what I want? I want 1 pound of frankfurters. That's all. I don't want a pound and 2 ounces.
Okay. 1 pound of frankfurters.
Everybody bites. Nobody cuts.
Now, will that be all?
Yes, I think... No. No, that's not all. I want a pound of raw liver.
This liver just came in fresh this morning. Isn't that lovely?
Just what I want, just a pound of raw liver.
1 pound, 3 ounces.
I don't want any 3 ounces. I only want a pound of raw liver.
Okay. Here, Robert.
You can keep that and the frankfurters and the chicken. The craziest store I was ever in my life. Never saw anything like this place. Now, let's see. What else do I need here? Oh, why can't somebody help me? Oh, Clark! Clark!
Yes, be right there, sir. Right with you. What is... Oh, is it you again? What is it this time?
Now, where are the paper napkins, the frozen foods, and the ketchup and the mayonnaise, and the canned pizza?
My goodness, can't you find anything?
No, I can't. It's your job to help me, to do my shopping.
Oh, you want me to help you do your shopping?
Yes,
I'll help you shop.
I don't want
Jack will be back in just a moment, but first...
Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, these things actually do not happen in a supermarket, except to me. Any store, this happens to me. Oh, Frank Nelson, would you come out here, please? 366 North Camden Drive, please.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I'm back again. So here we are at the end of the show. Let's talk about it a little bit. We have Kathy Fuller-Seeley with us. Hello, Kathy. We have John Henderson with us.
Hello.
We have Zach Eastman with us.
Hello.
Hello. We also have Terry Phillips with us. Hey, Terry.
Hiya.
So let's get started with our whole crew talking about this episode, which is, like I said before, isn't truly a Thanksgiving episode. I think it came out in January of the year, but this is a film version. We talked about the live version before, and this one stays pretty close to the differences are not great. If it was me and I was redoing it, I would have expanded the grocery shopping piece to add a little bit more of that and cut down on the beginning. But that is what I would have done. So let's get John. What were your impressions of this one?
I thought this was a fun episode, especially at the beginning. The stuff with Rochester and Dawn was lots of fun. And then the shopping stuff I thought was okay. I thought it was, I wonder what it was like at that time. Like, were supermarkets new-ish? And like, is that why they're commenting on supermarkets? Like, for me, I've had supermarkets my whole life, and sort of like it's all been done before. But we've all had that time when like you're trying to get the grocery cart out, and it's like, oh, and that's such a part of life that I didn't even like see it as a commentary at first. I had to like think about it. Oh yeah, if imagine this was new and trying to get the grocery cart out, that would be like a funny thing. So yeah, I we could talk more about it, but I'll let everyone say their initial thoughts first.
Okay, and we'll go around. Zach, since you're back, and it's been a long time, Zach, since we've had Zach with us. Zach, what stood out to you on this episode?
This is happening the more I tend to look at these later 60 shows with Jack. It's not just the fact that it's pre-filmed and we've got coverage that's interesting. We're also having a lot of gags that are trying to pose as radio gags by using other angles as coverage. So I think I was more fascinated than anything else by observing some of these ones specifically. But one of the things that I loved about it is at the very end where they are covering for what could only be set up as a radio gag by means of timing, which is getting Jack into that grocery cart, but we don't see it until after he rolls them out. Right. It's not like, I'm not going to say this is like pitch perfect television comedy, but I liked seeing the setup of like how they're going to pull that off to a certain degree within the visual realm. I do love any of the bits in the house. With timing aside, they are a lot of fun still, and I do like Dennis looking and knocking on the fridge to find out if they have any butter. Like, and again, like some of these like gags are recycled to a certain extent, but I remember this one in terms of like just being able to like still make me laugh, even though there's like pacing issues and editing issues. So I can't be completely down on it. The best gag, hands down, though, is the one that they do replay a bunch in clip shows or documentaries, and rightfully so, which is the kid asking for an autograph. The timing on that is perfect. There's no issues whatsoever. Jack's on top of it. The child actor's on top of it, and it remains one of those great bits. So it's not it's not a bad episode by any means.
No, it's interesting that you say that, because you're right. They are kind of stalling for time so you can get him in the basket, but this is not a live episode. They could have just cut.
They could have, but it's weird because it's live. Or because it's pre-filmed. Yes, you're right. You can do that, right? The fact that they chose to do that means it was a choice. And I don't know if that's because I've gone through this before when talking about Jack on film. Wide shots or medium wide shots are funny. Close-ups are not funny. So I love that they kept in a wide to build upon the joke so that it could keep it in a wide rather than cutting. It was an intelligent choice. It was just not expected. So like now looking at this not as a Benny fan but as a filmmaker, it's different, and I'm like, this is interesting. Like, I do love that they do it. I don't know if it completely succeeds, but it definitely is unique, as opposed to one of the other episodes we're talking about later today. This one I think manages to pull off its editing issues quite nicely.
Good. Kathy?
Well, just as John said, I'm fascinated by that moment of time of what supermarkets were like in 1961. And I can, some of my first memories are being up in the cart in these strange places that are large and small. And it makes me really want to do a sort of a Jack Benny at Costco, or Jack Benny at one of my mega super, my mega HEB grocery stores here in Texas, because it would be a wonderland of marching down the canyons and finding things. I was intrigued because I thought the key visual gag would be taking the cake. And I seem to remember that worked particularly well in the live version. I think because there was more tension about him looking, and it says free. And, so I think the timing was just a little bit less fortuitous this time, and then he just seemed to take. Although I like the fact that he took the second part of the cake. But
I think the best part of that was at the very end, where he goes and he thinks about taking the free sign. He touches it and he like grabs it, and then he's like, okay, I won't take that. But I just thought that was perfect, Jack. And then, like Zach was saying, the joke with the kid, that is one of the best jokes in the whole Benny canon of television shows. I mean, it just delivered so well.
Play like me? I used to.
Used to. And the setup with the kid saying he's played for 2 years. So I mean, you get that first. I played for 2 years. Oh, do you play like me? I used to. I mean, that is just, you're better than Jack within 2 years. So that's...
I did like my little 2024 jump scare when the butcher's cutting the liver and just feeding it to the dog, or I mean, so that's one difference between 1961 and 2024, is that maybe we'd have a little more of safe food handling practices.
Yes. Well, Terry, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I agree with all of you about how delightful this episode was. Even though it was a remake, it was a good remake.
Yeah.
About the kid who asked for Jack's autograph, the kid whose character name was Tommy. The actor's name was Flip Mark. His birth name was Philip Mark Goldberg. And when his parents were trying to get him into show business because he had the look, of a kid from that episode, freckle-faced kid, he went to an agent for a photography gig, and I don't know what the picture was for, but there was a job, and the agent's on the phone with the client and the agent, and this is the first time the kid and his mother walk into the agent's office, and he covers the mouthpiece on the phone and says, "What's the kid's name?" And she says, "Philip Goldberg." He says, "Nah, that won't work. Does he have a nickname?" And she said, "Yeah, we call him Flip." "Oh, Flip, that's perfect. And what's his middle name?" "It's Mark." "His name is Flip Mark." That's how he got the stage name.
Wow.
The joke, I've been practicing for 2 years. Well, I used to play as well as you did.
Yeah.
That was done. You remember the episode that we all talked about when he was in Australia and the little girl comes up from the audience?
Yes.
Or it doesn't come up from the audience. They'd found her.
Yeah.
I think she told that same joke.
Yeah.
I believe that they used it there. Nevertheless, I don't remember if that was before or after this. Nevertheless, I agree with you. It was the epitome of this episode. I also looked forward to the stacked cans gag, which they did in the live show. And I don't remember whether they did it exactly this way or not, but I thought they pulled it off perfectly. I was looking forward to seeing that again, and it really paid off well, I thought.
I think there was another topper on it somehow in the live show that they did.
Yeah.
It was like more to it, but it was good.
I don't remember if they did the green stamps coming out of the payphone in the live episode. I don't remember seeing that there.
That was a good bit.
I don't know how many people would recognize those S&H green stamps, which were huge in the 1960s when this episode.
I was the one in charge of licking and filling the books.
Yeah. They were competing with a few other companies, notably Blue Chip stamps. But S&H dominated the market of these. It was a kind of a loyalty program.
Yeah.
At that time, but coming out of the payphone, that one caught me by surprise.
The stamp thing, I think, strangely, I don't know, people of my generation and younger, right, would remember that from the Brady Bunch, where they were trying to get stamps, and the boys were in a competition with the girls of who could get the most stamps, and they were going to buy I mean, it's so funny how those things stick with you because the girls were wanting to buy a sewing machine and the boys were wanting to buy either fishing gear or a boat or something. I think it was a boat. And I remember my sisters, when we're watching it, were going, a boat is so much better than a sewing machine. Why wouldn't you all want the boat? It's like...
I want to say one more thing. There was one really weird joke in here. Again, I don't remember if it was in the live episode. It might have been when he was looking at the discounted cans of alphabet soup.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And he was told that they were marked down because they were not in English, they were in Latin. Well, Latin is written in the same alphabet, and it just struck me as weird. But then but they pulled it out when he read, Friends, Romans, and Countrymen, and I can't remember, there was some keep it in your chariot, I think. It took me a minute to figure out what was wrong with that, but it still paid off.
Yeah, it still worked.
Hard to tell if
it does work. I get the feeling that joke could be set up for a better literary nerd kid joke or nerd adult, whatever. Like there's something about it that it could have been a great highbrow joke, like that seemingly could have been written by a Futurama writer, and it doesn't. But they want to go for the thing that's accessible to everybody. So it's kind of like, I wish this could be this, but I'll settle for this. This is fine.
I'll bet they discussed things like, well, maybe instead of Friends, Romans, and Countrymen, E pluribus unum, or
yeah. Like
if it would have been a stretch.
Yeah, if they followed up with a Latin phrase, I think is what I would like. But beggars can't be choosers today.
It's still, as I said, it's still funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it still kind of, I mean, it was funny, just the concept of it. But then at the end, when Frank says, well, that's when these were made or whatever is the language at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack still wants to buy one, because they're so discounted. I mean, that was.
The button was, it didn't matter whether he might get sick. It's still, it was 3 cents. How can I not buy this?
I think they missed an opportunity from my absolutely favorite canned goods joke from Benny history is when he made Rochester go buy the cans where the labels had fallen off.
Yes.
And I'm having for dinner can of.
Yeah. That would have been a great setup. Or like or even the labels are halfway torn, so you're getting like half of what the word is. So you're trying to figure out what is it going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Bell's soup.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyone else have anything else? John, I think you had a few more things, maybe.
Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, firstly, it was great to see Frank Nelson. As in particular, Jack Benny radio fan, I love it to be able to see the radio people and to see what they look like and everything like that. So I loved the beginning with Jack Benny. He's doing the chores and Rochester's playing golf. I thought that was very funny. I thought, the fact that he's in like an apron and stuff like that, it wasn't that funny to me. I was like, okay, great. It's the kind of thing that Jack Benny would do. But for some reason, when Don Wilson comes out in that apron and get up, it was just hilarious. And I think part of it is just the way that Don carries himself. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. And you can like feel the emotion coming from him is sort of like indignant, especially when he gets mad. It's hilarious. So I loved that. And then Dennis Day comes. It's nice to see Dennis Day. He's a little taller than I imagine in the radio show, but I thought it was interesting because he sings his song, but he's clearly lip syncing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's got all his little things that he's doing. So, it was interesting. And I wonder if people back in the 60s would have been as, if anybody actually thought that he was actually singing live or not. So, yeah.
Who knows?
I think because it's so fly by one and done, you don't have a way to pause it to actually see it. It's kind of irrelevant. But yeah, it's one of those details we can nitpick because we have the ability to pause it and whatnot. But I agree. Like, for some reason, when Don has the get up on, and I do think because he was a very tall guy, like there is something about him having his legs pulled up that is very, very funny in a way that it doesn't necessarily work with Jack. And part of it's because we've seen Jack do some of this stuff before and in funnier things. Like there's a whole movie dedicated to him being in a dress that's hilarious. But so I do think that Don's revelation is funnier. And I do like, and again, like all the stuff in the house is pretty well handled in the respect that it's using its space properly, and it doesn't have as many wonky edits, so to speak. I can't say it's perfect, but I think for one of the film shows, it definitely is one of the more powerful ones.
Well, I think the radio show was so good and so amazing.
Yeah.
That I've always kind of felt like the TV show is a 15-year victory lap for the radio show.
Yeah.
And that everybody, Mary, Dennis,
Mm-hmm.
Jack, even, are trying to get to the level that they had on the radio show. And when they succeed, you're like, oh, this is a great episode. This is wonderful. I think Don is the only cast member I can think of that exceeds his radio performances pretty much on a routine basis. I mean, because in the radio performances, he was there, he was great. He was the glue that held it all together, sort of thing.
Yep.
But his performances on seeing him visually and his facial expressions and his awkward acting ability, and it just is so enjoyable on these TV shows that it just, to me, he's at his best pretty much on television, which is surprising. I would never have guessed that would be anywhere near true, and I think it kind of is, and it looked like everybody was nodding like, yeah, that's
I totally agree. Yeah.
Buck, that is such a thoughtful point. And to think it comes 20, 30 years into Don's career that he's been busy doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And now he's got these, other abilities that never occurred to anybody
I have a feeling it's because of that tenure that he's able to pull off what he's doing, because he gains a certain type of confidence or ability over the time that he was working on radio with him. And he's had time to know not just how to work with Jack, but how to interact with Jack. And there's something about like him as a performer where sometimes Jack and Rochester stuff on TV doesn't feel as sharp. Sometimes Jack and Dennis stuff doesn't feel sharp. I've never really found a moment with Jack and Don that has ever felt forced or uneven, unless it's because of the editing in the film shows. If I'm talking about a live show or this one, like there's never a bad point. And I do think a part of it is that by the time you get to television, they are the two mainstays. They have the most to do together. So apart from Mel Blanc. So they are clearly working out bits on a more rehearsed basis, almost like they're getting ready for Broadway, so to speak. So they're able to, it becomes an autopilot for Don just as much as it became an autopilot for Jack, so to speak.
And well, when you mentioned Rochester, I think he's right up there with Don as being as good or maybe better in some of the TV performances and things, because he really can do a great job. I mean, I love that he can show off his dancing and just his physical. He's got a physicality about him that he can pull off pretty amazing things, and I love to see some of the stuff he can pull off. Is just.
I think this is around the time his health was sort of the start of it being on the wane, so you can definitely tell that the timing isn't the same. But that doesn't take away from the enjoyment. It's no different than Jack being off at times. Like they're getting older, like, and it's going to be expected. And I will say, like, unlike watching older Bob Hope specials, watching Jack between the 60s up to 74 before he passes is not the same burden or chore of loyalty, so to speak. It's not to criticize Bob per se, but his older stuff does not compare to what Jack was able to pull off in his older stuff.
Yeah. Excellent. And I think Terry was going to throw something.
I was just going to say that if you think about the other announcers who became more important characters who followed Don Wilson, and first person who comes to mind is Ed McMahon, He started out, as a pitchman pretty much, and laughing at Johnny's jokes, but he became more involved as a character. I don't think he ever rose to the level of Don Wilson, in my view, but I think that was the same arc that they followed. And others. Who's Jimmy Kimmel's sidekick?
Guillermo, I think.
Guillermo, yeah.
Yeah, Guillermo.
Same kind of thing, where he started out just as, I'm not even sure if he was ever the announcer, but he was the sidekick. He was the
he's
guard.
he's a utility character, so to speak. And actually, I would say Andy Richter to Conan O'Brien is
much better example. You're absolutely
Andy Richter, and similar to Don, Andy Richter's been able to spin off in his own directions if he so chooses.
As opposed to the huge role of announcers in the 30s, 40s, and 50s and 50s into television. Think of Bill Lundigan, who we're going to meet in the Shower of Stars. The announcers are such kind of plastic people. The fact that Don has always been able to keep his humanity and not just totally roll over into good pitchman. So
right, and unless you have the right writers and the right people around you, it's never going to work. The two exceptions, to my mind, tend to be Bill Goodwin for Burns and Allen. I know Harry Von Zell did pretty good with Allen and the other Allen, but Bill Goodwin, because he was already an actor and he's starring in anything from Wake Island over on down to House of Horrors, there's something about him that he can keep his humanity. And the same thing could kind of be said for Ken Carpenter whenever he was working with Bergen and McCarthy, but he doesn't get a lot of moments to shine in those radio shows. Harlow Wilcox, I guess, for Fibber McGee and Molly, but he is more of a insert the dime and hear a Johnson's Wax commercial bit.
And thank you, Don Pardo.
Well, the other thing I was going to throw out about Don is throughout not just his whole time on Jack's radio show, but I mean, he was sometimes in up to 8 other radio shows at the same time.
Yeah.
And then his TV performances. He's one of the few people that I can think of where I've never heard anything that sounds phoned in, or it always seems like he puts everything into what he's doing, and it comes across audioly through the radio stuff, and it comes across visually in the TV show performances. And the fact that they can throw apparently anything at him and he's up to doing any of it. I mean, he can. The one I was amazed at recently that we showed here in the last few months was Don's relationship with Harlow, his, television son. Is he can get angry and still be funny when he's angry, and yet you feel like he's truly angry, or maybe, so it works. I mean, the way he can make anything work to get the kind of comedy that they want to get through it. And it's very broad sometimes. I mean, some of the advertisements where he's dancing around, or where they got him in a funny outfit or whatever, he can do that, but he can also do the more subtle office style comedy of being angry but not really angry, and I mean that's a very different style. And
he's really good at jilted pride.
Let's not forget, this was in an era before the notion of body shaming became an issue, and Don thrived and apparently really enjoyed self-deprecating humor based on his size, and he was both laughing at himself, and it gave him occasion to push back at Jack, to get angry at him. It was in some ways he was the best performer on the Jack Benny show.
and I think
right?
And I think part of the reason that works in a way that other jokes like this from the era where body shaming is more acceptable doesn't, like it. The reason it works for Jack and Don is that it's never really truly mean. Number one,
right.
It's never punching down. And also there is like an absurdity level cranked up to 500 with any description on radio, let alone television, that it's impossible to believe it. And when you see what Don looks like, the over exaggeration on radio becomes far more clear.
Yeah.
This is but what I like about it is that it does hold up in a way that jokes like this never would.
Right.
And I cringe at jokes like this in other media, but Jack, it's never been an issue, and it has to do with the kindness that is
and it seems
extended.
like he's in on the joke when you like the exaggerated ones, you can always hear him laughing in the background. And even in the times when he comes and he says like, that's it, Jack, I don't want you to, you've been making fun of my weight for years and I've had enough, just because I'm a big fat slob. And so he's always like in on the joke by the end.
There's it's from the Captain Horatio Hornblower bit. And they'd had an argument up at the front of the show when they're in the sketch. Jack goes, good boy, Wilson, stout fellow. And you hear him in the background going, I'm only stuffing myself for you.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, because again, it's irreverence at its finest right there. And I think that's why he's able to weave in on that supermarket episode and putting on that maid outfit in such a nice way. And again, he participates in the madness because I don't care who you are, stuffing anybody in a refrigerator the way they're implying would be rather ridiculous, unless it's Indiana Jones, I guess.
I just think this is so appropriate that we're having a Dawn discussion on our Thanksgiving episode. It just seems really appropriate. And to tie into this, because I just thought of this as we're going, I'm going to throw, after we're done here talking, we'll throw off to a Dawn interview and have Dawn talk about his career and things. I think because I know I have a lot of those. I might just grab an audio one. I might grab a video one. We'll see. But just for a little added entertainment, because you gotta love Dawn. He's so great. The one that sticks out of my mind is an episode. I don't love the episode necessarily. It's not one of my favorites, and they've redone it a million times, so it's definitely one of their favorites. But certain pieces of it I really like, and Don does a great job of it, and so does Jack. It's the anniversary episode where it's like Don's 30th year in on the show, or 30th year in radio, or it changes what it is every once in a while, or he's king for a day or whatever it is for that. But the whole piece where Jack talks about bringing Dawn on board and how that really helped his show. And then Dawn is like, well, Jack, it was so great to come into your show when it was down and be able
never
to,
down.
through my ability, bring it up to a level where heights it had never seen. And Jack's like, it was never down, Dawn. And then Dawn continues his thing about it being down. And he's like, Dawn, it was never down. And it's just that the between the two of them is so delightful there as they're arguing whether the show was ever down before Dawn came on. And I do think Dawn is somewhat right. He did take it to another level once he joined the show. It did notch up, just like when they brought on Mary, it notched it up again. And each progressive person that they would bring on, when they got Phil on there and Dennis on there, and it really improved the show. And they knew when they improved the show, they'd lock someone in. And it's telling that Dawn is the very first person that they locked in. Probably, I guess, after Mary. I would Kathy would know more about this. So
yes,
because kind of Mary was locked in by then, and then but he was
a personal contract. But then Jack was very much subject to and wherever he was broadcasting, NBC says you're going to use our announcer, you're going to use our band, you're going to use our announcer, you're going to use our band. And when he was up to about his 57th announcer, he says, "How can I, that?" So that's why. Don is the first person that Jack put under personal contract. I mean, other than Harry Conn, the writer, the first on-air performer was Don Wilson. So you're saying, I can make this character that important that
and that says a lot.
Go with me everywhere. So
Yep. So I guess we'll leave it at that. Unless anyone has anything else to add. Thank you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy this Thanksgiving episode, though it's not. But just pretend he's buying turkey instead of chicken, and you're good. Yeah. Enjoy. We'll see you guys
Happy
next
Food
time.
Day.
Thanks, everybody.